Fires one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. This will be Slangin The Bizkit, episode 9 of the show to start the season. My name is Travis Ridgen. I'm number 33 for the Watertown Wolves in upstate New York. I am joined by the Winnipeg radio legend himself, had the number one morning show in the city for 20 plus years. His name is Dave Wheeler, and he's married to a former Playboy bunny. What's it like over there in the city of Winnipeg, Dave?
I am wearing number one in her heart. I can tell you that right now. No, things are good, man. We're starting to get into fall. It's floating around 10 degrees centigrade for those Americans listening. Do the conversion. I would assume that's probably somewhere in the 50s, maybe.
Double the temperature in Celsius, subtract 32. That's the conversion. I don't know if it's true or not.
Then it would be minus 12.
Yeah, that sounds all right for this time of year. I was going to say, too, though, that mustache is looking great. But if you've ever seen Dave's wife in the video version of the show, Dave has a beautiful wife. She has a better mustache.
Well,
I was going to bring up to the point that Danny Devito does get laid. At some point in time, he has gotten laid. So if Danny Devito gets laid, obviously Dave's not doing too bad for himself either.
Danny DeVito's been married to Rhea Perlman, if memory serves correctly, for better part of 40 years.
Danny DeVito, he was in The Princess Bride, right?
He was, most people will know him from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. People my age and older will remember him from a show called Taxi that had Christopher Lloyd on it once upon a time. And his wife, Rhea Perlman, was one of the waitresses on the show Cheers back in the 80s and 90s. So, yeah, he was also the voice of the Lorax.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wait, Danny DeVito? Where did that come from?
Oh, whoops. Oh, I dropped my monster condom that I use for my Magnum Dong.
I don't know. I've been talking to my life coach, T.C. Cummings, about him, and he always brings up when we talk about optimism and positivity, he says, Danny DeVito gets laid. Remember that. Danny DeVito gets laid. You can do anything in this lifetime. Shout out T.C. Cummings.
Yeah, okay. Wow. All right. It's an interesting bar to set. If Danny DeVito is kind of where if that's your 0 point, all right, great. Nothing but up from there.
Hey, well, whatever works for you. I did also want to give a quick shout out to the amazing Patreon members. We had about 5+ members join last week on the Patreon page. By the way, you can join for $5 a month with the link in the video description. But if you are a Patreon member, depending on your price point, please send me an email. I have to mail out the rookie trading cards and the holographic cards from Motor City in Sweden in the mail. I need that information to ship them out to you. And if you are the price point for the mugs and for the merchandise, again, I need your sizing, I need your shipping information. So if you're a Patreon member, please do so. If you have, thank you. And I hope you enjoy your mugs, merchandise, and cards, and more.
Amazing. By the way, since we're talking Patreon, you can sign up for the Wheeler After Dark podcast, a show that I do with my wife, the one you just mentioned, the beautiful redhead known as the Candace Ray, and my depressive buddy, the Sad Jaguar, and some random a-hole we might have named Tommy. But we are behind a paywall exclusively on Patreon, and you can find that at patreon.com/Wheeler After Dark. Not for the faint of heart. We get into some rather adult-themed
Do you do a video version of the show or no?
No, we used to. We used to do it live too, which was scary. But no, we've all got busy with lives and jobs and investments and kids and whatnot. So it was.
So you can't see your wife; you can only hear her.
That's correct.
You should do the video version. I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah, subscriptions would go through the roof. Am I not good enough for you?
It's just doing it, shall we say. Also, I want to give a shout out to my GM, Charlie Pens. He allowed me to film the show again this week. He gave me a nice little drink body armor. He asked me before we started recording the show, he says, Trav, do you need anything? I said, well, how about a Coke Zero? And he gave me a look like he wanted to smack me. And then I followed up with, how about a Dr. Pepper Zero? How about a Pepsi Max? And then it also got me thinking along the lines of last season when I played for my former employer, who we are not allowed to mention anymore. I constantly had people bringing me Pepsi Maxes while I was on the bench and whatnot. And with our new coach, Brian Verbeek, who's an absolute health freak, nutritional, gym, fitness, you name it. Like, this guy had us doing sprints in the parking lot all week this week at training camp, bag skate after every single practice. The guy's got like 30-inch arms. He's got huge arms and he's jacked. Do you think he'll have a problem with me drinking Diet Pepsi or Pepsi Max, or people like giving me Pepsi Maxes on the bench?
No, as long as it's sugar-free.
That's what I was thinking, if it's sugar-free.
Even then, I think you're fine. you're still hydrating to a certain extent. It's funny. I mean, I'm not going to go into the exact science of it because I don't know it, but a lot of people think, oh, drink enough water, drink 8 liters of water a day or whatever it may be to stay hydrated. Getting hydrated actually is more than just water. It's a very specific combination of salts and sodiums and a whole bunch of different things that are different from body blood type to blood type. So you are hydrating maybe not as well as you would if you were drinking something else, but it takes a lot more than just water. So who's to say that a little carbonated soda in your belly isn't going to do you any harm?
Yeah, and it is damn delicious. I don't discriminate, by the way. If anybody's coming to the games, Coke Zero, Pepsi Max, Dr. Pepper Zero, I'll drink it all. If it's 0 calorie, I dabble, for sure. I did want to get into to this week's, headliner. Training camp has started. The season is underway here in Watertown. And we had some very interesting orientation, first impressions with the Watertown Wolves. So we went, did quote-unquote media day, little headshots for the team website, for the league website at the Watertown Ramada. And after that, we had what I believe is a professional hockey first. Now, stop me if you've ever heard this before, Dave. The Watertown Wolves, I believe, are the first professional hockey team ever to issue a math and a history test to find out who is the dumbest players in the team. This actually happened.
It's like an aptitude test to find the dummies?
Yeah, and the test that we were given, it had, are you smarter than a fifth grader on it? It seemed like it was copy and pasted from their website or whatnot, but it had everything from bed mass to, the sum of pi, to the American history, which I'm going to be honest, I was really good at the math, but I did struggle, fell down early in the history test because I'm not American, but that was what we did for orientation.
Wow. Honestly, when you said a test for hockey players, I thought they were going to have like a triangle hole and then a square hole and then a round hole, and then you had to put the appropriate shape into the box. So, yeah, I'm glad they didn't go too hard with you guys. That's good.
We did, just not at the hotel.
Square peg in a round hole.
Literally and figuratively.
So give me an actual, how does the ice feel? How does how's it feel being out with bodies that are actually getting competitive?
It's good. You know what? One of the guys was saying, too, you forget over the summer how good certain guys are. You have guys that it just feels like they're galloping out there on the ice. They have a quick release. They're smart. They're intelligent. And over the summer, you forget about that. You forget how fast the play moves and how good guys are. But it's nice to get back on the swing of things and kind of feel that intensity and feel that pace. I think, too, a lot of the guys, myself included, are starting to feel it with the, every day, we skate for an hour and a half from 10 a.m. to 11:30, and then Coach Verbeek bag skates us a little bit towards the end, which, with my former employer, we never skated once as far as bag skating or fitness testing goes. And then after that, it's immediately into the room, get your shit on. We're going to go work out in the parking lot or in the field, and everything from lunges to single leg squats to sprints, long distance, all that type of stuff. And again, that never happened with my former employer. So we will most likely, actually not most likely, we will for sure be the best conditioned, the best in shape team, because I don't know what other team in the Fedzino is running wind sprints 5 days a week after practice. Every day of this week we've been in the gym or, in the parking lot doing fitness activities.
I love it. I think that's fantastic. Can I ask how the hip's feeling?
The surgery hip is feeling great. It's just crazy because I'm starting to forget what it was like before I had my surgery. So last year or even in years previously, the feelings of the pinching, the clamping, the limitations, things that I could and that I couldn't do compared to now where I can do basically anything I want with this new hip. And it's incredible. My day-to-day life is great. My on-ice life is great. I'd be lying if I'm not noticing some other issues on the other side. And again, my surgeon mentioned to me before we did the surgery, he said, you're going to start noticing issues on the other side. And I said, I've never had an issue there my entire life. And he said, well, you're going to start noticing them. I promise you this. It's only a matter of time. I said, nah, you don't know anything. Obviously, I was on drugs at the time because I just had the surgery done. Right? This is also when I was quoting the Ric Flair when he says, you're going to have issues on the left side. Woo!
Doc, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Thanks for cutting me open.
But we talked about that the other day, that I'm starting to notice some other things. So I could only imagine just how free and how mobile I'd be if I got both sides done. But unfortunately, in Canada, they don't do both sides. They don't do one at a time. But in the U.S., you can for, I believe, $25,000 per hip. Now, obviously, that $125 a week Fed minimum salary is not paying for double cam hip surgery. So.
Well, I'll be honest with you. You said something interesting where you said you're having a hard time remembering what it was like before you had the surgery done and all that pain you were experiencing. And it from a psychological standpoint, any of the moms listening out there right now will know that, after you have one child, you're like, I am never doing that again. That was the most painful thing I've ever had. And then you slowly start forgetting about it. And then, you have another one or whatever it may be. But it's amazing how the body will remember the situation, will remember the recovery, but has a hard time really pinpointing exactly what that pain felt like, whatever the ailment was.
Yeah, like I definitely remember like physical things that, excuse me, that I couldn't do before. But like the actual like feeling, the sensation of the clamping and the pinching, I don't fully remember what that felt like in that one hip because now everything is so open and I can do it, which is great. It's exactly what we want. We don't want injuries. We don't want cortisone. We don't want all this type of stuff. But it is nice to be able to put that to use. And we had 2 scrimmages, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday as well. And I felt pretty good. I felt like I was moving really well, moving quick. I wasn't happy with, a couple of the goals, but all in all, and there'll be some video on the video version of the show. I feel like that new hip is moving. That new hip is it's feeling good, and I'm putting that full range to use. Again, 6 degrees of internal rotation before surgery, 25 currently. The human body is only capable of 45, by the way.
Well, let's go. You're 20% short.
Yeah, 20% short of like and it would be like a toddler, like like how a toddler can be like a rubber band and do all this.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're born without kneecaps. Did you know that? We're born without kneecaps. We develop them as we age.
What age do they grow kneecaps?
They usually come in when you start walking. That's when they start developing. But yeah, we're all born without kneecaps.
It's like 2 to 3 years old. Rough take.
Fun fact. Yeah, that's when they start developing. I don't even have a PhD. Ha!
But you know what you should do to get your PhD is with your dick in your balls with the team at sheathunderwear.com.
Oh my goodness! Listen, I've already told my wife. I said when it comes to Christmas, just put down Sheath Underwear and just check that off the box, and I'll be good. I'm taking off your list. I don't care when you order it, as long as it's there. December 25th. Christmas gift, Christmas gift, Christmas gift, Christmas gift, and Christmas gift. Sheath Underwear. Do it now. Take it off your list. Do what my wife. It's smart. Get your man taken care of. Sheath Underwear. They will love you, and they'll say, hey, my birthday's coming up, or hey, do we do presents for Easter? Whatever the next holiday is, they will ask for more, I promise you.
Absolutely. And Sheath Underwear has pioneered their dual pouch technology. It is a segregated compartment for your dick and your balls, so they're aerated, they're not sticking to the side of your leg, they're not bat winging, and everything's going to be comfy, and so that you're not going to be, and I'll put a video again on the video version of the screen. You know those guys, like in the hockey locker room, they're always like pulling their bag off the side of their leg, and then they like sniff it, you know what I mean? You ever seen that? You notice that, Dave?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not going to be that guy. We have a guy on the team. Shout out to him. His name's Carter. I call him Cartsy. And Cartsy is always pulling his bag off the side of his leg. That guy needs a pair of Sheath Underwear. There's a couple guys in the room I can think of that could use a pair of Sheath Underwear. And you can get a pair when you go to sheathunderwear.com and use the code BIZKIT69. That is BIZKIT 69 for 20% off. The greatest pair of underwear that money can buy. Only from Sheath. There's a link in the video description, by the way, on the video version of the show and the Apple, Spotify podcast and notes to pick up a set.
Speaking of your Ghibli bits and whatnot and your genitalia, Hockey Canada has began the reconciliation of all of the monstrous headlines and allegations and evidence and wrongdoings that they had over the past couple decades by implementing a controversial, and we'll call it controversial because boy, oh boy, are a lot of people pounding this one down. They are basically saying, to give you the Coles Notes version of the announcement, it is no longer a prerequisite for children playing minor hockey to have to be naked inside of a locker room before going out and playing. Now, I know when some of you think, that's a weird way to say it. As it stands right now, you go into a locker room if you are playing hockey and you unrobe from your street clothes, and you are naked, and then you put on your Under Armour or whatever it may be, and then you put on your gear, and you head out on the ice. And once you're done, you take all your gear off, and you go shower, and that's usually in a group setting, and then you come back with a towel, and you put your street clothes back on, and then you're on your way. Now, as simple as a process as that sounds, when you're dealing with children, especially ones that are hitting puberty and whatnot, there can be a lot of shameful comments, a lot of laughing, a lot of giggling, different development levels, and they have finally said that if you need to change from your clothes that you wear to the rink into something else, you can do that behind a closed door that will be provided for you in the dressing room or in a bathroom somewhere, but it is no longer appropriate to be naked inside of a locker room in front of your peers.
Well, like, what are they going to have? Some guy, like, in shades, like a secret security, like a secret, like, officer in the room, like a hammer police? Oh, your horn's out. Put it away.
Yeah. I think for the minor hockey system, you will likely have a coach in there at all times or a representative that will say, hey, make sure that kids are going in. Oh, hey, no, make sure you're going in, wait in line. Just go change in that little stall over there. You don't have to do that out here. I don't think it'll be a for the kids that have never experienced before, it'll just be normal to them. For the ones that maybe engage in that and have to stop, it'll probably be a bit of an adjustment. But I at first glance, I was that, old guy, 44-year-old guy. I was like, oh, it's crazy. I got naked in front of, my entire life. I'm comfortable being naked. What's the big deal? But when you think about it on a rational level as a human being, there's really no prerequisite for any other sport where you are having to get naked or even a job of any kind. I mean, could you imagine if you were working at a clothing store and they said, you have to put on your uniform before and we're all going to do that in a group setting? You'd say, I don't think I want to work here if I got to get naked in front of other people. That shouldn't have to be a prerequisite for this job. So, I mean, just to kind of, and even in the announcement, if you go down the rabbit hole a little bit, and I could tell you stories that would turn your hair white, but, a lot of those things that I mentioned earlier about, the shaming and whatnot, and some of the things that, Travis, that you've seen over your years in the locker room when it comes to genitalia jokes, we'll call them the J squareds.
I've seen every shape, every size, every color, you name it, every descriptive word.
Right. Listen, I've seen a lot of penis in my day. I've seen a lot of penis in my day. If I had to pick one out in court, I could probably go, yep, that's the one right there. Yep, veiny one. Yep, that one.
You know what I've realized recently is I've started noticing guys by the shape of their ankles. So, for example, like Trevor Lord, he's our assistant captain. He walks in, I can tell him like that the second I see his ankles and his like really skinny white legs. The second I see him, I'm like, oh, Lordo's here. So I'm sure you could do the exact same thing for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've now discovered how Travis Ridgen showers. Head down, staring at ankles the whole time. Hey, I know you.
Nose of the grindstone fella. Hey, did we ever talk about the time I got fired from Best Buy? We talked about that, my last real employer? Yes or no?
No.
Could you imagine? You're just, I'm working at Best Buy.
Let me guess. You got naked in front of somebody. Is that what happened?
No. It's a long story. But you imagine, like, you're just working, like, working the camera section. I tell the boss, hey, boss, let's grab a shower. What do you say? You want to hop in there? You got poo? You got poo? Let's grab a shower. What do you say, fella?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a no-no in the HR handbook over at Best Buy.
They did do HR training. Did I ever tell you how I got that job? Actually, that's a great story. I should do this real quick here. So this is about 5 years ago.
You applied for it like a normal human being?
Yes and no. Okay, so hear me out for a sec. So I'm living in MLBC, playing, quote-unquote, for the VIU Mariners. And my girlfriend at the time, now ex-girlfriend, we're living together, and we didn't have enough money to pay the bills for the month because neither of us work. So she said, you should get an extra job to pay for that. And I said, okay, because I was a simp. And so we went to Best Buy to go and get a printer, and they had a big sign. I was like, we're hiring for like seasonal positions. And she's like, oh, you should apply. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll apply. So she told me to. So I apply. Later the next day, I get a call in the car. I'm with her. They say, hey, do you want to come down for an interview? And I'm like, sure. I don't really want to, but my ex-girlfriend is here, so I guess I have to go do this. I literally, I show up in shorts, a tank top, and sandals. I walk in. The guy says, do you want to work here? I said, I guess so. He's like, do you want to start tomorrow at 3 or 5? That was it. That was the interview process. I said, why do you want to hire me?
What'll happen when people are desperate, huh?
I asked him, I said, why do you want to hire me? He's like, I like your energy. Okay, I guess I'll start at 3.
And I'm also short-staffed by 3 people, so you seem to fit the bill of someone who's looking for a job, and I'm in the I'm in the realm of hiring right now. This worked out really well. Thanks for stopping in today.
Well, you're alive and breathing. Can you show up on time? I'm really unreliable, never on time. Perfect. You start at 3.
Now, listen, I want to go back to this whole naked in the locker room thing. Now, Travis, I'm sure that you can, over the course of your playing years, that you can tell how comfortable somebody is by their habits when it comes to the locker room. There are some guys that'll face the wall the whole time, and all you get to see is bum, and they'll switch that way. There's some dudes that'll have the towel around, and they'll do the old underwear swap underneath the towel. There's some guys that'll sit there for naked, like completely naked, like with a t-shirt on and everything just hanging out on the bench, just sitting there chatting regularly, throwing in a dip, having a drink, whatever. Some dudes are just really comfortable with that. And there's all different styles. There are literally some dudes will never say anything about it one way or the other, but I think you can tell which ones are comfortable being naked and which ones aren't.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you can see the video version, when you got the guys that are hanging out like this, they got their hammer just swinging off the side of the bench.
Yeah, it's like an anteater picking up dust and little bits off the dressing room floor. Yeah, it's like doing work down there.
It's like an aardvark.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, like, hockey's different than any other workplace. Like, again, I know I alluded to it earlier, but it's not like at Best Buy where you'd be like, boss, grab a shower or whatnot. Like, it's different. It's a different kind of workplace. So, I don't know. I feel like I remember the first time I showered in front of guys, like in the locker room, like when I was like 14, 15, and it was weird. It was like So this is how this is going to be, huh? But then you just get used to it, and it just kind of becomes part of the culture, right? So, but if you try to explain that to somebody like a normal person who hasn't done that, they'd be like, "What the hell is going on here?" So,
okay, well, even in just saying that, though, you kind of say, anyone that's played hockey kind of understands it, but nobody else really does. So it sounds like it's rather exclusive to that sport, and we've seen the track record of what's happened in the past. So if something as minor as this, and in the grand scheme of things, if you don't have to get naked in front of somebody, then why would you? You know what I mean? I mean, outside of having relations with somebody, sexual relations with somebody, obviously that's a prerequisite for that. But I mean, just having to go out and play hockey, that there really shouldn't be a prerequisite, and having to see your teammates' genitalia in order to go out and play and be teammates with them.
I feel like it's more of a convenience thing. Like, I come into the room and I get naked and I get changed in my stall, where obviously all the guys can see me, but it's an inconvenience if I was to stop, take all my stuff to the bathroom, do it, change behind the door, and then come back. Like, it's just like...
What do you mean? What do you mean all your stuff? What do you mean? I mean, you do that in the bathroom. I mean, listen, I was at the YMCA with my kids the other day, and it was the first time they'd been in a locker room, and they were swimming, and so they had to go like, where do I... And I was like, right here. This is a locker room, and I was going with what I knew. This is a locker room. This is where you get naked. Now I'm second guessing that, going, no, if you want to, you can go over to one of the bathrooms and just slip out of your swim trunks and put your underwear on and then come back out if you're not comfortable that way. But I also explained to them that if you're in a locker room, there's odds are you're going to see penis. That's just the way it goes.
I could see you 100% being the dad. Hey, Angus, is it cold in here or is it just me? What do you mean, Dad? You'll get it one day. You'll get it one day.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
Speaking of getting things, we wanted to talk about, and this is popping. This is trending. As Aaron Rodgers dubbed them, Mr. Pfizer and Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
They're everywhere. What was the ratings, Dave? I know you had them on the morning show. The ratings for this past weekend's Chiefs-Jets game?
Oh, yeah. They had like 27 million people watching the game. Travis Kelce and his brother, who do a podcast called New Heights, they were actually chatting about it, how just the numbers were through the roof. And they both admitted that maybe the NFL's overdoing it a little bit. They're not used to having this kind of celebrity show up to the game. They've got other athletes that show up. They're like, oh, look, there's Broadway Joe down on the sidelines of the Jets game. Always good seeing Broadway Joe. Oh, what? Right, everybody! Ryan Reynolds is right up there! And they just lose their mind. Ah, he's with Wolverine. And then the camera every single time they had an opportunity. I'm not even bringing Taylor Swift up because we know what we did with that. It was like the camera guy finally had his chance, and the sun is like, I'm going to be the one to get Taylor Swift on camera. Meanwhile, every camera's pointing towards them, and they said it's a little much. The NFL even changed their Twitter handle to say NFL Taylor's version.
Oh boy, they are reaching on that one. They absolutely are.
What do you think?
I agree. They don't really get that many celebrities, like compared to like basketball, where it's like, oh, here's so and so, or even like the UFC, like here's Donald Trump, here's Tom Brady, here's GSP, here's the
fighters.
Quick
little wave, sitting sidelines.
Yeah, and it's very casual. It's like, and we're joined by the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. We're joined by the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, and to the fights. Very simple. But the Taylor Swift stuff, she's on, like, it seems like every single cutaway. Like, make a pass, Taylor Swift. Run the ball, Taylor Swift. Fumble, interception, return for touchdown, Taylor Swift. And they're just getting her reaction. I don't know. I feel like they are overdoing it.
Now, I'll be honest with you. What I just did right there, because you brought something up, and what I did is I put a big blanket over it with Taylor Swift, which is exactly what's happening with this whole Aaron Rodgers situation. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was talking about the situation and referred to Travis Kelce as Mr. Pfizer because he's doing a Pfizer commercial reminding people to get vaccinated. You can get your flu shot and your COVID shot all in one, two things at once. And it's funny to hear it coming in and then which would have normally been a big story, throwing shade like that, but because of the whole Taylor Swift thing dominating the NFL, it's lost in the ether. But I do find it, if we're going to comment on it, I find it hilarious that a guy like Aaron Rodgers is going after a guy like Travis Kelce, who is saying yes to pretty much every single paid promotion he can do right now. Remember this? Hey, Rodgers! Discount double check! Discount double check, Rodgers! Aaron Rodgers was doing this on the field! A promotion of discount double check, Rodgers! So it's the pot calling the kettle black on this one. Let's be honest.
Well, and I alluded to it last week with the whole Taylor Swift thing. Like, she is like the queen of feminism and things like, I believe in the last election, she endorsed the Democrats. She has been very vocal about go get your vaccines. Pfizer is the way to go. And she's just this queen of promoting women to do whatever they want, to not have self-accountability for bad behavior and bad actions. And as a matter of fact, to be embraced and saluted for degenerate behavior. And that you are not the problem with no matter what you do. It's always the man's fault, and that men suck and men are trash. And to be honest, I don't like it because I think everybody has a part to play in every problem. I think that everybody should have some form of personal responsibility, which she clearly has none of. And with both of them, with her endorsing Pfizer and Mr. Pfizer doing commercials for Pfizer, it's like, you guys deserve each other. I don't really care. I like Aaron Rodgers. Go Jets. By the way, well, never mind. I'm going to keep that to myself. I'm going to keep it to myself, yeah.
Inside voice.
Keep that thought inside your head, Travis. Don't get the podcast canceled. We like doing this show every Sunday for you.
Speaking of which, I'm reading into things a little bit too much here.
I did want to say one thing.
What?
You know what I miss, Dave? I miss the days when a bald, caramel-skinned man driving a Bugatti and smoking cigars was all over the internet. I miss those days as opposed to those two. Don't you?
Yeah, well, listen, everything goes in cycles, right? 'Tis the season.
Apparently, also with the whole Andrew Tate thing, apparently those audio clips were consensual and were role play. I don't know what to believe anymore. The internet's fake. I don't know what to believe. Somebody help me.
Dude, we're living in a simulation. If you haven't realized that yet, I mean, this is evidence of it right here.
Well, one thing that we did want to talk about was and this was popping news as of yesterday. I know we covered this a couple months ago. Trevor Bauer, former pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Cleveland Indians, I'm forgetting another team, Cincinnati Reds as well, former Cy Young winner. He signed the biggest contract in MLB history for a pitcher at 151 smacks in 2021, being exiled from the league after sexual assault allegations and then having to go over to Japan. He has officially been cleared, and not only has he been cleared, both parties have settled to not pay a dime to anybody, and Lindsey Hill, who is his accuser, has been exiled into shame, it seems like, on the internet. And Dave, have you followed behind any of this evidence or no?
I'm just catching up now. I'll be honest with you. It's not something that pops up in my newsfeed on a daily basis, but it says here that there was some sort of phone call that was released. The audio of it.
This is juicy, Dave. So I want to be very clear. Real survivors of sexual assault and domestic abuse, thoughts and prayers are with you. To anybody making fake allegations, you deserve to rot for the rest of your life. And this seems to be one of those situations. So Lindsey Hill is the girl who filed the claims against Trevor Bauer. First off, she filed for a restraining order in June of 2021 and was denied it. And I think that we can all agree it's very easy to get a restraining order as a woman on a man in this day and age with how little evidence you need. But she was denied it, and text came out of her talking to one of her friends about Trevor Bauer and, quote, "My next victim is the star pitcher for the Dodgers." She also was quoted, "I'm going to be a whore to get in on his $51 million of net worth. I just need daddy to choke me out to get it." So those are some pretty incriminating things. And even one of the pitchers, former San Diego Padres pick, Jacob Nix, offered her $50,000 to do this to Trevor Bauer, to bury him. And so she obviously ends up getting her hooks into Trevor Bauer. They're hanging out, and she files the sexual assault charges against him. On the morning of her hanging out with him, there was a video that surfaced of her, like she took a selfie video of her in the bed with Trevor Bauer. Now he's asleep, and she looks totally normal. There's no bruises on her face. There's no scratches as she's claimed. And basically the courts have completely dismissed this case as phony. No actual evidence that she has actually misled the court. So Trevor Bauer is an innocent man, again, innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. And I just love watching his vlog on YouTube every Sunday. He is obviously a world-class pitcher. I mean, he won the Cy Young in 2020, biggest contract ever in 2021. The charges come out, and then he's dropped, and not a single team even considers
I know he signed over in Japan, but I certainly hope he's got enough left in the shoulder and the elbow to get back into the majors. Man, it's heartbreaking. It's
So he was suspended over 300 games originally, which is the equivalent of over 2 seasons. It was then dropped by half to 1 season. And when the suspension was dropped, the Dodgers had the ability to put him back on the active roster or release him and give him away to anybody else who wants him. So the Dodgers were on the hook for the full money, and any other Major League Baseball team would only have to pay him the absolute league minimum to get him. And not one team signed him. Not one team seemed to have any interest. So I'm curious now. And he did a video about all of this, which was very compelling, and I really enjoyed it. And I'll obviously throw clips in the video version of the show if you haven't seen them already. But I hope he gets back to Major League Baseball because he's just such an interesting, fascinating individual with his flying drones outside of the Rogers Center in downtown Toronto, to some of his antics off the field, to being so outspoken, to be calling out the commissioner. Like, could you imagine just to shit talk your commissioner so bad, but because you're so good, they can't do anything about that? Like, what a world! What an interesting guy.
I really hope the Blue Jays sign him so they can start him in the wild card series and then pull him after 3 shutout innings and 5 strikeouts. We did that already. Yeah, sorry, we did that with Jose Barrios. Yeah.
the Japanese baseball season is done, though, for the record.
Yeah, so is Yusei Kikuchi.
So he's a free agent now. He can sign anywhere he wants this offseason, which I'm interested. Any predictions? Where do you think he's going to end up, Dave?
Blue Jays. I'm hoping Blue Jays.
I hope so, too. I would love to go see a Trevor Bauer game for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be a good one. Hey, listen, everyone, this is a good lesson on let's wait for all the evidence to reveal itself before we start making judgment calls, I guess, right?
But the evidence is out, though. Dave, you want to know where the evidence is out from? The team at Manscaped.com, the brand new beard hedger. You got to get it. The team at Manscaped have engineered the incredible beard hedger, the beard trimmer. I actually just did a little taper job of mine, as you can see here in the video version, and here is how. So the beard hedger has 20 different lengths, 20 different notches to taper and style to your preferred preferences. It also has a 60-minute battery life. It's waterproof, so you can't electrocute yourself in the shower. Trust me, I tried. And you, right now, can pick yours up at the link in the video description at manscaped.com, and with the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT, for 20% off and free shipping, only from the team at Manscaped.
Oh, hey, can I tell you? So I caught a exhibition game, Jets and Senators. Senators won 3-0 last week. But I was invited down by True North Sports and Entertainment because they just finished doing over $13 million in renovations on their premium lounge, which was I found it really interesting. And I had a couple conversations with some of the higher ups that I knew from way back in the day. And I said, it's incredible because the league kind of puts pressure on you a little bit. We're like, how's that rink looking? This could use an upgrade. Your building's 19 years old. And they kind of, drop these little hints and whatnot. Like, hey, you could do this, you could do that. And so they're always on the hook to spend some money. But it blows me away that I don't want to use the word pressured, but they were suggested that they need to upgrade some of the areas of their rink. Meanwhile, we've got Mullet Arena down in Arizona holding 8,000 people, everyone standing in line for one washroom. Like, it just blows my mind that True North is on the hook to go spend $13 million. And don't get me wrong,
they only have one washroom at Mullet Arena?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just trying to make it sound like a bigger dump than it is. But the renos they did on Canada Life Center in downtown Winnipeg are mind-blowingly cool. Like, really, really good stuff. And I actually found out that they have now, and keep in mind that's a 19-year-old building, they have spent more money on renovations over the last 19 years collectively than they did to build the place in 19 years ago.
Crazy. And that was the former Eaton Center, right? Downtown location?
That's right. Yep. So they're the basement, like they dug out a new basement, but they used the existing spot from the Eaton Center, which was I think a 10 or 15 story department store in downtown Winnipeg. Iconic. They still have the old Timothy Eaton statue at Canada Life Center. Canada Life Center. And it's incredible. I know that building like the back of my hand. Worked in there for 10 years, and I know the guts of it. And still people working there from day one. It was incredible. Walking through there, shaking hands with a bunch of people, security guards and hospitality staff and whatnot. It was pretty neat. It was like walking down memory lane. Maybe you want to get back behind a microphone in the rink.
They still doing jet dogs there? The pierogi jet dogs?
Oh, they have a whole bunch. Their culinary there is unbelievable. They opened up a whiskey bar specifically for whiskeys. They have a craft beer corner. They've got incredible food, chicken pork sliders, hamburgers. Unbelievable. Like really, really good stuff.
Side note, I did want to say, and I missed this in the orientation side of things with the Wolves. We have had meals provided, lunch and dinner, every single day for, I think it feels like every day for the last 2 weeks. Like right before we started recording the show, we had team dinner. An all-you-can-eat taco bar, quesadilla. Shout out Rob, our incredible booster member. He cooks everything himself. So like today after practice, we get out, we go do our workout, we come back in. He's got lunch meats, cheeses, buns, vegetables, salads, all that kind of stuff ready to go. And every day, lunch at 1-ish and then dinner at 7. We're absolutely taken care of here.
Wow, you are full diva. No wonder you're asking for diet sodas before you record a pod or sitting on the bench, huh?
I'll tell you this. This is probably going to be the first month ever where my grocery bill is under $100 ever.
Wow.
It's not bad.
Wow. Tell that to Joe Biden. He'll be excited. Be like, look, we found one. Inflation's a joke. Look, Travis Richard under $100, and he's a professional athlete.
I'm combating inflation by eating for free with the Watertown Wolves. If only everybody could do that.
By the way, you getting excited about your start?
I am excited, yeah. So the show's going to go up on Sunday, as it does every single week. We have a preseason game against the Elmira. I was going to say the Elmira Mammoth. The what are they now? The River Sharks.
River Sharks.
Sorry, they've had so many teams. The River Sharks are coming to town on Tuesday, I believe 6:30 puck drop. That'll be our one and only preseason game. Yours truly is getting the start, and then the home opener is on Friday. So that's our. Oh, it's 7. Is it 7:30? 7 o'clock. Okay, so 7:30 puck drop. 7:30 confirmed. Be there, be square.
There you go. I'm looking forward to it, man. And then don't forget, if anyone wants to look good at the rink, you can buy your Travis Virgin Watertown Wolves jersey. You can get those online, correct?
Yes, there's a link in the video description if you do want to pick up my beautiful jerseys. I've already had a couple sales already, so if you want to pick them up, get them. I think they're about 6 weeks to come in custom, which it would be a custom order to get the 33 and the original on the back, but goddamn does that baby blue look good on me. I am biased, but I think so.
I saw a couple of your social media posts for photo day, and yeah, color suits you. Matches those husky eyes.
Oh, thank you. What did Tyler think? Did Tyler see the video? He comment on it?
Yes, but that's not appropriate for this podcast.
Give me the PG version. What did your radio host Tyler Carr say about my media day mugshot?
Tell you what. For the video, for the people watching on YouTube right now, the audio version, you won't get this. But okay, I'm gonna do an impression of Tyler when he saw it. Okay, so here's my phone.
Dave, come on. You can't do that in the video version of the show. The people on Apple or Spotify are going to be shaking their head, be like, what is going on here?
He was very impressed. How about that? Tyler Carr, my amazing co-host on Wheeler in the Morning with Jasmine Lane and Tyler Carr.
The number one morning show in the number one morning radio show in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years. I will say, though, you got to admit, though, that blue is my color. It absolutely is.
Looks great on you. Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to be the best color coordinated guy out there, I'm sure.
I think so. The custom gear, the custom mask. People did say that they wanted to see Wheeler on the back of my mask.
Excuse me?
So on the back of the mask, there's Kurt Cobain, and then there's in the corners, I don't know if you noticed, I have like my trainer John Stea, so I got like John, Mom, Tim, Booj, Pasco, people like that. People wanted to see a tribute to you. They wanted to see Wheeler on the mask.
Wow, you know what? Just put a microphone on there. Those that know will know.
If you don't know, now you know. How are we looking for time? We going to be going about, 30, 40 minutes?
Yeah. Listen, man, I understand you're busy. You got Charlie, the legendary Charlie Pence Jr. loaning into his living room there to record. So if he's kicking you out and if he says, "Yo, I want my living room back," time to pack it in. Yeah,
Pensie's basically our production manager over here. He peeks behind the corner and gives me any corrections if the times on puck drop is wrong or any other kind of stuff.
Well, listen, tell you what, totally okay to wrap up early on this one, and I'm sure people won't be disappointed because the content is good as always. But tell you what, in the interim where you normally get an extra 10, 15 minutes here, go down to the comments, and I'm really curious to know what you think of this whole nakedness from Hockey Canada. Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Really, honestly, I want to keep my finger on the pulse of this one. Really curious to hear your thoughts.
For sure. And if you get the opportunity to, you should join the Patreon page for those exclusive perks. $5 a month. There's a link in the video description to support the show. Because we do a new episode every single Sunday. And that is at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in Winnipeg, 9 in Calgary, outside down the Bow Valley, and 8 a.m. on the Pacific West Coast, Vancouver, San Francisco, Los Angeles. My beautiful former home in Vancouver. Mr. Dave Wheeler, do you have any closing comments? Take us home here for the show for this week.
Oh, boy. Well, I'll tell you, with the Ottawa Senators may be a sneaky surprise in their division this year in the NHL. They look strong. Their back end looks good, and they've got they're up and coming. They've been drafting well. Keep your eye out for the Ottawa Senators this season. I think they're going to turn it around.
All right. We'll see you next week for an update from the preseason game and going into the home opening weekend. We'll see you then.